Ethereum ETFs are live. What did the inflows look like? And how much exactly did Grayscale sell? We're going to talk about that. Also, Bitcoin goes to Sin City, the home, of course, of Sin City Crypto. What does that mean for potential adoption as more marketing dollars are put into these ETFs and who they've picked to be their custodians? Is this an inherent systemic risk to the entire cryptocurrency markets as one company holds the keys to hundreds of billions of dollars of Bitcoin and Ethereum? One person believes it is. We'll talk about that. We got Magic Internet Money joining us to break down the charts. We'll take a look at some altcoins and markets. How are they reacting, and what can we expect from Bitcoin Nashville? Big announcements. People are assuming there's going to be some big announcements. How will Bitcoin's price react? We'll talk about that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go. Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and, well, stale information and repackage that whole thing up in a fun and sexy way. You know, Ethereum's ETF went live. Net inflows, though, and was $1 billion?
That was trading volume.
I know.
Okay, you said net inflows was $1 billion.
I said we had some net inflows, and then I said, well, we have $1 billion, and you cut me off, of volume. And, you know, we're in a situation where, you know, this is going to escalate. I'm telling you, I am dumb excited about what ETH and even the altcoin space is going to look like. If you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for your returns on anything outside of Bitcoin, well, the time is now. I think that with this Bitcoin convention, you got Trump and RFK speaking. The obvious conversation that's going to be had is with cryptocurrency, particularly Bitcoin, and it's going to be coming at right from the horse's mouth. Well, that's Donald Trump. You seem offended I called him a horse.
No.
Okay. But you know, I'm turning the corner on this consolidated channel that we've been at in Bitcoin, and also kind of this lull we've had in altcoins since Solana kind of took a breather. You know, the altcoin market has really been in the same position, right? We've had a couple outliers, but I'm really excited to see what altcoin season is going to look like, because it is starting now. It is hot in Vegas, but autumn is around the corner, and so is altcoin season.
And also, Ashley's around the corner as well.
Oh, we got Ashley in the house.
Hello, Ashley.
What up?
Hey.
All right, we also have some special guests in
people
studio. We're
back
excited to
there.
have them as well. You know, Rob, you mentioned who's going to be at the Bitcoin conference. Well, guess who is not going to be at the Bitcoin conference? You want to take a guess?
Ashley.
Yes, but someone more prominent than Ashley. No offense to you, Ashley. It is potential Democratic nominee Kamala will not be at the Bitcoin conference. Okay, I'm speculating here, of course, because I don't know these conversations, right? I bet you she was like, I'll come and speak if I can go after Trump. And then they called Trump and he said, nope, I want to speak last. All jokes aside, there was a lot of rumors and talks.
It's literally 3 days from now, and you know, from the time that she was, you know, propositioned on going. So I think it was just probably too short of a time period. But I mean, you have two of the major candidates there. I mean, you have the Republican candidate. You also have RFK, who's leading outside of the two major parties. So obviously, this is going to be a front and center covered event through the media. And well,
You excited to go?
I am, man.
I tried, but I can't. But Rob and Rocco will be there representing Sin City Crypto. So if you're going to be in Nashville for Bitcoin, let us know in the comment section, and maybe you guys will run into Rocco.
No, we would love to meet up with you. If you want to meet up with the Sin City crew, if you're going to be in the Memphis area, or Nashville. If you're going to be in the Nashville area, and you want to, or you're going to be at the convention, come meet up with Big Rob.
You can really see if he is Big Rob. Anyways, David Bailey, the CEO of Bitcoin Magazine, of course, the company that is holding the conference, had posted this. Kamala Harris will not be speaking
at the Bitcoin conference. No surprise. What can she say to us when she's actively imprisoning developers, forcing our industry overseas, attacking proof of work? It would have been a disaster for her. I don't know. Sounds like that conversation didn't really go too well.
So also keep in mind a headline that we had earlier this week as well was Mark Cuban reached out to the Kamala.
They reached out to him. I'm like, dude, you're trying to get... Yeah. They reached out to Mark Cuban. They wanted to learn more about crypto. I'm like, there's so many people that are actually in our space that haven't bad-mouthed the crypto industry that you could have picked up the damn phone and called.
You know what happened,
You decided
right?
to call Mark Cuban.
I have a suspicion that the POTUS branch, the executive branch, was there watching Shark Tank, and they're like, that guy knows crypto. Can we get him on the phone? Like,
he said one thing about crypto.
yeah, and so obviously, they had exposure to Voyager. And, he has a lot of venture capital interest when it comes to...
I mean, he's a tech guy,
crypto.
right?
But he's a tech guy, but he's the big...
Doesn't mean you're a crypto guy, though. If you're being a tech guy does not mean you're a crypto guy.
He's a crypto guy. He's just not the crypto guy to talk to the executive office, right?
Who's the first phone call you're making if you're president? I want to learn about crypto. So correct.
If anybody has Satoshi's number, it is definitely the United States government. I'm just saying they know exactly who Satoshi is.
Do you think so?
Come on, bro.
Okay. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
No, I'm just saying that, like the CIA, the FBI, all of the branches here in the United States, and not to mention blockchain is transparent. It's out there for everybody to see. So they know exactly who it is. Now, whether or not that person's still alive or free, not imprisoned, that's a different discussion. But yeah, they know who it is. So that would be who I would call if we were gonna go outside of Satoshi.
Vitalik, Charles.
I mean, you could call Michael Saylor, but we already know exactly what he was saying.
He's don't call Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
Unless you want to learn just about Bitcoin. I mean, the one that makes the most...
You know what? Like, here's the thing. When you're trying to educate somebody on crypto, what do you always tell them? Like, learn Bitcoin, right? And so, Kamala, what I implore to you is learn about Bitcoin. And if you want to know everything and more, then hit up Michael Saylor. He's the CEO of MicroStrategy.
Yeah.
They've went all in on Bitcoin.
And if you want the rest of the crypto space, hit up Vitalik or maybe Charles Hoskinson. And so yeah, it was pretty surprising. Rob, I want to show this. So this is obviously on our thumbnail. Bitcoin, I believe Crypto.com put this up. Bitcoin was on the Las Vegas Sphere. Every cycle, every bull market cycle, we see tons of money being poured in to marketing, right? And this cycle is no different. Does anything stand out as far as how things are being marketed now versus last cycle? We're obviously seeing more marketing from BlackRock, Fidelity, these institutions that we didn't see cycles before. Last cycle, we didn't have the Sphere. So you're seeing things like this. Formula One last year was sponsored by Crypto.com, right? You got Polkadot doing NASCAR cars, right? Sponsoring NASCAR cars. What kind of impact do you think this has on our space and trying, we always talk about bringing new retail, bringing the masses in. What kind of impact do you think things like this, are they important or is this like just money waste?
Well, I'll tell you this is, what did we have before Bitcoin advertising on the Sphere, right? Well, you have the most decentralized form of advertisement out there, which is Bitcoin. And now, which is a stark contrast to what we saw just less than a week ago where we had, the blue screen Sphere. And so, I'm just saying, man, there's one network that doesn't go down. And that's put all jokes aside. Obviously, we reside here in Las Vegas, and it's kind of a shame that all these conventions are always going elsewhere, right? We got to go down to Nashville for the Bitcoin convention. You got Consensus, which is down in Austin. So all the largest conventions are outside of Las Vegas, but Vegas is like the convention capital of the world. So for us, it's kind of a head scratcher, right? We do got Rare Evo coming up next month, which we are super, super excited about.
I'm playing the poker tournament.
Yeah, and so if you're a fan of Cardano, if you've seen, if you've watched our show in the last few weeks, you know that we're really excited. We're going to be there representing. Also, if you want to meet up with Sin City Crypto, and you're not going to be in the Nashville area, and you want to go
Come to Vegas in August, man.
and you're over here on the West Coast, please come down to.
It's going to be a big
down
event.
to Las Vegas. And you can be a tour of the studio as well, so that's always a fun time. But just excited to see larger crypto presence. And I know this is an advertisement, but I feel like we're ramping up. We also got UFC. VeChain is one of their biggest sponsors. Also, Crypto.com is all over UFC as well. And
do they just have an endless pit of money, Crypto.com, for marketing? We should try to get some of that.
I mean, you know how it is. I mean, how much marketing did FTX have?
Well, it wasn't their money. It was a
but
money,
these companies are making a lot of money. I mean, if you look at that 1% fee, I know that's kind of the standard for Coinbase. I'm not exactly sure what Crypto.com's is, but I'm sure it's something comparable. So 1% of these billions of dollars that are sloshing around.
I mean, they spend a lot of money on just the Crypto.com domain name, like a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
but.
All right, we have Magic Internet Money joining us, which said Rob looks swole. Thanks, Magic. Now I'm gonna have to hear about that for the next 6 months. God.
I mean, gains are gains, no matter the market, and we're bullish on Big Rob right now. He's hitting the gym.
You getting jacked over here? You pumping some stuff or what, bro? Damn, Magic. Welcome back, my friend. We're so excited to have you. Will you be at Bitcoin Nashville? I don't think I've asked you. Are you gonna be there?
I will not be there, but I do have a good reason. It's my son's 11th birthday, so
that's a terrible reason. That's a terrible
Yeah,
reason. Look,
maybe next year, maybe I take him next year. Maybe that's the true, present. I'll get him into Bitcoin with that children's book from Billy Goat and see if he wants to go next year.
That's a good idea.
I got 2 kids, and they were really excited that I was going to the convention because Trump was going to be there. So they just assuming that I'm going to go over there, like go party with Trump and hang out with him, give handshakes.
You never know.
It was going to be wild.
They recorded a 45-second video, the 2 of them, for me to give to Trump. So
your kids did?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Kids are the best.
You'll have to let us know what security's like after everything at that, because I imagine with him being there and all those people, like I can't imagine the event's going to be like it was in years past,
Yeah.
Magic, we're thankful to have you on, man. And, we had the Ethereum ETFs go live yesterday. Bitcoin's currently trading at 66.2. ETH has held pretty damn steady, 3,400, after seeing massive amounts of outflows from the Grayscale ETF. I know we usually start with a Bitcoin chart. Could we start with an Ethereum chart in honor of the ETH ETF going live? And I mean, is it just boring price action, or is this thing looking like it's maybe gearing up for a big move?
Yeah, let's get it up here. Let me make sure I've got the right one going, and we'll talk shop on ETH. That's
awesome.
One we just revisited because you reminded us to a couple weeks ago in the group. I think it is not this one. It's the USDT. Give me just a second, and mainly because I want to cover the high time frames on this one primarily. I think that's where most of the true information that you should be taking in is probably on the high time frames with ETH, because it is doing some interesting things. You can see we're consolidating right here at, resistance at the all-time high. We had already kind of marked off our previous month low last time we talked about it, I believe about a week or two ago. You can see you've come up and finally cleared that right here. So you're living above that previous month low, and you want to kind of remain there as the month comes into a closure here. So for the next week, you want to see us kind of hanging on to this $3,240 region. Now, as we start to zoom out, though, and we look, overall, we had kind of said already that anything below $2,800, it does start to look a little different, not as rosy in the short term. It's not the end all be all by any means if it does break that, but it's not going to certainly be, in my opinion, good. But overall, strength is with the bulls, and so you would be looking for upside, and you need to figure out what your exit plan is going to be. And we kind of covered this loosely. And I just wanted to know if my plan had changed at all. And realistically, my plan is still looking upwards into, like $5,600, then $8,400 overall. And actually, maybe it was the USD chart. Is this the one? I don't know what I did with it. I think we put it on a hub. There it is. It's on this one. It's right in front of me. We built this one on a separate tab. It was a chart build for like an exercise for everyone to kind of like tune in the group. That way we're all kind of learning and using it as for educational purposes. But realistically, just using some very basic things that, helped kind of find the top in the last market and markets before that, using basic fibs, using convergence. We're still looking for ETH to break out of this consolidation. And so you can see that you do have that resistance we spoke about at 3,642, 3,761. That area, if broken, also puts you above your trend-based gold pocket here. And then you start targeting that one-to-one area, which is, $5,600. So, in the short term, you are range bound. And, the give or take here between $2,800 and we'll call it $3,700 is going to really determine where we go next. Because if you don't find yourself breaking up and it does move down, as a trader, I'm looking closer to like 2,200 and back testing this, kind of structure. And that's still plenty healthy. That's not a breakdown or anything, because the higher lows in this have just been very aggressive, and this was a very aggressive move to the upside. So for me, I'm bullish on ETH. It is one of the only altcoins that I hold long term, and so I'm hoping to get a chance to unload some of my Ethereum at higher prices, of course. So that would be kind of the make and model of what I'm following. As long as we're above $2,800 and remain range bound, making these higher lows, I'm looking for higher prices. I don't know how the ETF, plays into that. That's not my strength. My strength is just putting together plans on the chart and then being patient, and if I'm wrong, I know where I'm incorrect at. I know that below $2,800, I'll revisit this plan and see, okay, yeah, we have support here, but what's the viability of this? Like, what do I need to see next to make sure that I'm kind of staying up with the market? So ETH is boring right now. It is. It's kind of a boring launch. It's not like when Bitcoin went live and it rocketed to 49K, back down real quick, and then instant recovery and shooting up to like $60,000. But that's okay.
I think
everything's waiting on Bitcoin.
And Magic, just to kind of jump in here, I think part of that also has to do with when the Bitcoin ETF was approved, it went live very, very quickly right after, whereas the Ethereum ETF got approved in May and didn't launch obviously till July. And so we saw ETH go to that $3,800 level off the news that it got approved. There was like a 20% daily candle on ETH. Then it drew down a little bit. Before we move on from Ethereum, I want to share this post here, and I want to get both Magic, your and Robin's thoughts on this. So we're all kind of discussing, hey, how is this ETF launch going to fare with compared to what Bitcoin did? So Bitcoin versus ETH ETFs day one comparison. Total ETH flows were 108 million, and they were 16% of the Bitcoin flows, which was 655 million. But 79% if you exclude the outflows from Grayscale, which was around 484 million. The Grayscale outflows will likely larger because it was already trading at NAV on conversion while GBTC was at a discount. Bottom line, while this is a marathon, not a sprint, demand for ETH surpassed expectations on day one. Great setup for the road ahead. Looking bullish for the projections from Matt Hogan. Rob, I'll ask you first. What are your thoughts now that the day one numbers are in? Did it exceed your expectations? Did it meet your expectations? And what do you forecast moving forward?
No, I think it's exactly what we were expecting, or at least for myself, was about 20% of what we saw out of Bitcoin, which was spot on, right? I think it was like 22 or 23% of the volume. Not exactly sure on the total net inflows, but the volumes are right there, right? It was exactly what we were expecting. And, if it does end up mirroring the price action that we saw on Bitcoin at that 20% level, given the market cap of Ethereum, we will definitely see that $7,000 to $9,000 Ethereum by the end of the year. I'm just simply saying that if you just took the net inflows and you took 20% of that amount of capital from Bitcoin and you moved it over to Ethereum, we're well past all-time highs. And that's why I led into the show saying that I think that the altcoin season is here, because I have very little doubt that if we see a $8,000 to $9,000 Ethereum, that we won't see the altcoin market just rip. I just don't see a scenario.
Wait. What? You're saying if we don't?
I'm saying if we see a situation where we have an $8,000 to $9,000 Ethereum, I just don't see any way that we don't have the rest of the altcoin markets rip too. And so day one, 20% of action that we saw on Bitcoin, we're seeing on ETH. If trend continues, $9,000-$10,000 Ethereum, roughly, maybe 8,000, who knows? But regardless, well past all-time highs. That buzz that you're going to get in the altcoin market, especially in the second largest asset, and not to mention ETH ecosystem is gigantic, right? You got Arbitrum, you know what I mean? Like the list goes on and on. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, how many projects are based on ERC20 tokens? Think about all the ecosystem.
You're not even mentioning what the institutions are using.
Yeah.
Ethereum.
Yeah. And so altcoin season will kick off if that happens. And at this point, day one in the books, it seems to be we're going that direction. So I can't stress how bullish I am if you're looking for the altcoin markets to rip. Maybe it doesn't happen in the next, I would say, 60 days, but I think that that's the direction we're going. Once the forced selling is done with Grayscale, we're off to the races. We saw it with Bitcoin. Once Grayscale's selling subsided, net inflows came in, we broke new all-time highs. And I think that new all-time highs is within the next, I would say, 90 days for ETH. Not that far off, right? $3,400. What was the previous all-time high? It was like 54?
Like less than 5K.
Yeah.
But right around 5.
Okay. So
49 something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll eclipse that.
Well, I hope so. Magic, do you have any insight or any thoughts you want to share on the ETH ETF, how it went, or are you surprised by the flows? Any thoughts you want to share?
I have no opinion on it because I'm not educated enough in that topic to have one, I think. I'm bullish on ETH because I like the chart. And, I always tell people that strong fundamentals are represented in strong charts. And that's what I like to invest in. So my skill set is not identifying those from a fundamental basis where people have their, ear to the ground and they're really keeping up with this stuff like you guys do. You guys do it every day. So you guys are going to know way more about this than I am. But when I hear him say that, I like it. I do like the idea of big institutions getting involved in Ethereum because it's good for the class. And I do think he's correct that when Ethereum does run, at least in past cycles, obviously there's no guarantees, but historically when ETH has its day, altcoins do as well, and that generally means some of that rotation from Bitcoin might be flowing into ETH and then into middle caps and the small caps. And, we all know the cycle of crypto, and this is very similar to stocks where it goes from like the big ones down to like the Russells and then et cetera, so it is one of those things where when that happens, there is going to be a lot of opportunity and good trading. It just depends on how you like to position yourself and when you like to position yourself timing wise, because it can be brutal if you position yourself super early and you have to wait through these like long lull periods and altcoins just aren't doing anything. And you're sitting there just watching your money kind of be a stable coin,
Yeah. Even if you don't, the way I look at it is even if you don't get that, tide that lifts all boats in the altcoin market, I mean, you still got about 10% of the top 100 projects are tied to Ethereum, right? I mean, you got Polygon, you got Optimism, you have Arbitrum, Mantle, ETH Classic, Uniswap, Aave, Compound. I mean, the list goes on.
MakerDAO.
You got Shiba Inu. I mean, there is so much projects that will just pump by proxy just because they're part of the network. And for me, how can you not be bullish on the altcoin market even if you if you don't know anything about crypto, if you don't you're not like following what's going on, you just know that, hey, $8,000 Ethereum is pretty damn bullish from a crypto, right? it's pretty, we can just dumb it down that way. And I think that's gonna happen this year, barring, some kind of, black swan events. But if we proceed in the direction that we're going, I think that we got to the height of regulatory pressure from the US. I think that was kind of the big narrative that was pushing down the bear market post FTX collapse, right? the bear market was FTX collapse, and then we just kept piling it on over and over. It was like, hey, this company sued, we're kicking this exchange out of the US, Wells notice here, oh, Coinbase got a Wells notice, every exchange to known to man got a Wells notice. And so I think that was really the punches of the bear market. And, previous bear markets, it was a different narrative, right? And so now I think that's over, right? Especially with the changing of the guard, if we do get a new president. Even with Kamala, I think that she realizes the power of crypto, and maybe she changes her stance. I don't think she's going to be the most progressive option, but I do think that we are behind the time of over-regulated cryptocurrency policy and procedures. I think that is behind us. And even if offices like the SEC and the CFTC don't want to be progressive, we are seeing legislation passed by Congress which supersedes anything that the SEC wants to quote unquote regulate, right? And so if Congress comes in and says, hey, this is the structure for what is a security and a commodity, this is the structure for what is a digital asset, this is what the SEC can go after. If that's laid out in the form of a law, it doesn't really matter what Gary Gensler wants to do. It doesn't matter even if Trump were to lose the election, Kamala was there, and even if she was part of this anti-crypto army, if Congress comes in, passes legislation, which we're seeing bill after bill after bill get put in front of Congress, and the votes are coming in our favor. And so we had the repeal of SOB 121, which got vetoed, but we still that still happened. You have the FIT 21 bill, and then there is a ton of bills. There's a couple that were proposed by Cynthia Lummis.
A couple stablecoin bills. Too.
Yeah, the stablecoin bills. And so it's coming. I have no doubt that we'll get some laws passed within the next, I would say, 12 months for sure. And even then, if you get an executive branch that is dropping executive orders as well,
Robin,
and replacing the SEC head.
I would never use the term for sure when you're talking about politicians and rulemaking, because obviously
that is true. Never for sure.
I'm sure Magic can agree with that.
Is when it comes to crypto, tear down that wall.
Tear down, Mister.
Tear down that wall,
President
the wall of
Gorbachev.
regulation. Tear it down.
Put an LED on this damn wall.
Yeah.
We are getting LED on the wall. It's going to be great. Magic,
Very cool.
Can we take a peek at BTC?
Absolutely.
Rob and I kind of
there is some things going on today.
Yeah, well, what's going on?
Bitcoin. Do you guys follow hash ribbons at all?
No.
The buy signal from
No.
Charles
Educate
Edwards.
us.
So this is historically one of the better buy signals you can get in this market. It's based on miner capitulation. So when miners are done selling, and you can see that the buy signals generally come after capitulation, they do form, and you get really good rallies. Now, some of them have failed. I got turned on to this indicator in 2019. There's a few channels that do cover it. A really good one is Crown. Eric Crown covers it. We have some guys in the group that also follow this, because we've been trading this asset with this, macro wise for, over a cycle. So, but historically, at least 40 to 60% off of a buy signal. So been very good. The only ones that have really failed, I think what they consider failure is, I want to say 2020. You have your black swan here, obviously. But realistically, last time we had an all-time high break before the last cycle was right here. And that is where you got your buy signal before making, your push to highs. And you're getting a very similar thing. We're at the all-time highs. We're getting our buy signal as we consolidate underneath it. And so in theory, as long as we're holding on to these lows right here, one would be expecting this to play out just like it has. I want to say if you go to like the BLX, you'll find it's played out, I want to say 15, 16, 17 times in Bitcoin's history. And that's the successful ones. I think there's only 19 or 20 iterations total. So it is one of those things where if you guys aren't familiar with it, he is on Twitter. I'll pull up his Twitter so you guys can find him. I think it's Charles Edwards, I believe is his name. And he's the one who created this. He's one of the very few people that I follow anything macro on Bitcoin and fundamental, because he does things based on the cost to mine things, price ratios like that. Yeah, it is Charles Edwards. He's grown quite a bit since I've followed him. He's at
Is this the one right
108,000
here?
followers now. Let's take a look. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Definitely. He's really, really good macro
Follow.
guy. He's got some killer stuff that he shares for free for people.
Amazing.
And there it is. There's the buy signal. And so if you're not familiar with Hash Ribbon's buy signals, there's a lot of information out there. Go to Charles' page. He actually interacts really, really well in his comment section. At least he used to when he was a little smaller. I know things get difficult when they're higher, but one of the few accounts that I'll plug. I like plugging people that give out good info, and he definitely does.
Hey, Magic.
So it's a good sign.
I apologize in advance. Did you show the last time we got this buy signal what the price of Bitcoin did?
I did, but the last time we got it, it was right here at this like $24,000 level before we came up to these highs. So the last time we actually got one of these this cycle was here, and you can see what's happened since.
Wow.
If we go back further, you've got one here. You actually got a double one here as we were making our bottom before this rally. You've got one here that occurred right here as you were breaking back out to go to all-time highs. You got one here at the all-time high before it pushed to 60K. The only time it really failed was about right here. You got one at somewhere around 7,000. It did push to 10.5, but you had this black swan that took out the low and kind of invalidates that at that point, because anyone that was buying here is getting taken out of the market if they have any kind of a stop loss or liquidation.
But like you said, Magic, that was also a black swan.
It's a one-off.
Yeah,
it is. But so, there's no guarantees in a market, obviously, but this is a good sign based on where we are. And we kind of talked about what we needed to see to really have a bullish view of this range. And it was being above about 65K. And I'm still looking for that potentially as a back test. But, as I get rid of this, we talked about this on the 6-month chart. And we said, we have not closed a 6-month candle above 64,990 yet. Now, that doesn't mean anything if we just take the high and we push above it. So then it becomes a little more difficult, because you're like, well, I have to wait for this candle to confirm technically. You really don't. You could just zone off the prior all-time high like this with that level and just say, all right, 64,990 is holding. We can challenge 69,182, which is the previous cycle all-time high and probably our most important resistance at this point. If we were just to zoom out a little bit, yeah, we get above this box and there's really no reason why we wouldn't be looking for higher prices, and then we can start having that conversation about, 81,000. What's the target after that? Is it 100K? If we get over 100K, how high can we go? And then the question of cycle time comes in. And another key factor, if you guys recall, I kept saying, we're expecting sideways here because that's what we got the last time we were in this region in terms of a halving. We're expecting sideways up here. We're just higher up than we were before, but we can start using time a little bit. I got to find the macro folder, but time was something that we were using pretty well in terms of what we were looking for. So we were expecting our correction here at the 50% mark. If you recall, 73K was that big resistance. We've gone over it. We are now entering that next time pivot. I said, if we're going to break and we're going to make a resolution of this range, I'm expecting sometime in the end of July based on the next just distribution of time pivots. And so this would be the time frame. We're getting a buy signal. So for me, I would like to see this, get follow through, of course. Now, if it comes back down below the low, below, we'll call it below 55 or 60. Yeah, maybe we have to revisit that and say, well, maybe this time is different. But as of right now, that's not really a conversation we need to have, especially if we're above 65K. And you could go lower than that, but nothing is really invalidated until you give up this structure. Just like we have to make a higher high to validate, this local downtrend being resolved to the upside. But overall, the uptrend is still very well intact on the macro. So it is one of those things where losing this low would be the first official sign of weakness for me in the market, where I'd go, okay, this might be a problem, because now we've done a change of behavior. Things are starting to shift around. And then that whole, talk of maybe this was the top can actually start carrying even more weight. But until that happens, it's like I said, I haven't taken any hedges short. I've only deleveraged some of my long positions that I was holding for most of the year. So that doesn't take me out of the market. It just puts me back in spot positions. And I'm much more comfortable in spot up here than I am in a leveraged position. So just waiting to see how it pans out. But, things are starting to point to the upside that this should resolve. And right now the Bulls have the ball. So we play with the probabilities there.
It might be the perfect storm, because you have that indicator flashing, right? The whole Mt. Gox thing where they're distributing Bitcoin, but not really getting sell pressure. We saw $500 million worth of inflows from BlackRock's ETF. We shared that yesterday. And then you have the Bitcoin Nashville event, which a lot of people are speculating, and there's rumors, potential leaks, that Trump is going to come out and say that if he gets elected, he's going to hold Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. Not saying that it's going to happen, just saying he's going to say it. What could that do to the markets? Can we see new all-time highs by Sunday with everything that you just went over, everything I kind of laid out? Potentially. I mean, I don't know.
Anything's possible. Anything is possible.
Guys, I want to implore you, if you enjoy our friend Magic Internet Money, go join his Discord. I have it pinned to the top of the comment section. Not just Magic, but his community as well. They're constantly sharing trade setups. Go in there, say what's up. I am in there as well, although I'm not as active as I'd like to be across all everyone's Discord channel that I'm in. But Magic and his team, they're and his partner Max, super active in there. So definitely recommend you go in there. And then also go follow him on Twitter at Magic Internet M1. Magic, always a pleasure having you on, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. And we will see you next week. Hopefully when you come back Tuesday, 80K Bitcoin?
Yeah, maybe we're above the highs. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? But
80K
I appreciate you guys having me on as always.
80K? Magic, odds of next Tuesday when you join the show, Bitcoin's over $80,000. What's the probabilities there?
Anything can happen. I won't say it's impossible, but
give me a percentage.
I don't like to put my foot in my mouth on that stuff.
Give me a percentage.
Percentage? Coin flip it. Let's just 50-50 it like always.
50-50.
What about you, Rob?
50-50. Why not? It's a coin flip.
Yeah.
You know?
What are you doing over there? Show your screen. Show Ashley, pull up his laptop, please. Like, what are you looking at?
This is my percentage here.
What are you looking at?
You know,
what the hell is this? But I look over to his computer. I'm like, what is he looking at? Okay.
I mean, my man's speaking of Bitcoin in Nashville.
What
so
is this?
It's
that's exciting. I hope you guys post a lot of content for that. I'll be keeping an eye on it because I'm curious how that event goes.
Yeah. Like I said, Rob and Rocco will be there representing. I'm sure they'll be posting some stuff on Twitter. So
well, have a safe trip, guys.
So Magic's at 50-50. Thank you, Magic. We'll see you next week, brother.
See you.
Rob, he's at 50-50. Where are you at? 80K Bitcoin by Tuesday.
No, man.
Oh, that's only 6,000 above all-time high. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I would say 8% chance.
8%.
Yeah.
Okay, are the better chances of 80K Bitcoin by Tuesday, or Trump actually looking like that as he gets older?
I don't know, man. I mean,
you don't have to answer that question. It was rhetorical. No, we haven't done any welcome to the Chad and Olaz in a while. You want to say what's up to some people?
I haven't wrote anybody's name down in weeks. So what do you want me to just spend 10 minutes here scrolling through?
Just roll, man. Also, guys, if you haven't liked the video, we have 156 viewers, 71 likes. Help the channel out. Help our metrics. Like the video so YouTube shows this to more people. Let's take a look at the rest of the markets and kind of where we got into. Magic already went over BTC and ETH. BNB up 2.5% over the 7-day at $584. Solana still pretty up big still on the week. Almost 14%, hovering around that $180 level. We have some potential bullish Solana news that I'll share with you here in a little bit. XRP, man, very surprised at XRP's price movements. Been holding above 60 cents.
It ran. I mean, if you look at the 1 month chart here, I mean, this thing went from 47 cents. It was all the way down to 40 cents flat at one point, and then you can see here, I mean, over 60 cents. I mean, I think this is a very healthy chart. Even when you compare it to Bitcoin, for example, I mean, it's very strong performance. I mean, here, this is one of the few times that we've seen XRP outperform Bitcoin. And so I think that we've actually turned a corner, and we haven't seen a major pullback. I mean, if you were to tell me that XRP was going from 40 cents up to 62, I'd tell you, hey, man, we're probably going to pull back.
There was one big pullback. You see that, right?
Where?
Right there. From there down.
From 63 cents down to 55, and it was only there for one day.
Yeah.
And so I'm genuinely surprised.
I am too. That's why, I led with.
And so, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think we're in a scenario where XRP is underperforming in the short term. I think it's very strong, and it's been over 60 cents for over a week now. And, if you couple that with the fact that we're starting to see interest in the altcoin market, if we do see that big run up in Ethereum, it's going to spill over to the alts. I think one to keep an eye out for would be Solana. And the reason I say that is just Solana's really taken a back seat in making new highs for quite some time. It's consolidated. I know it did get up to that $200 range.
Got all the way down to 120.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a while ago. I mean, how long ago was this epic run on Solana? I mean, if you look on the 1 year chart here, it got up to that 109, or that it smacked the 200 range, but basically at 180, from 160 to 180, this has been since March, and so 4 months now. And so I think that the next altcoin to really take off is going to be Ethereum, followed by Solana. And then from there, we'll just see all the other major alts take off as well. If Bitcoin rallies, we get that. I mean, think about this perfect storm that we're getting, right? You think about this scenario. You got Bitcoin breaking new all-time highs if President Trump really just goes ham on a Bitcoin keynote speech, right? He comes in and is like, hey, man, this is going to be the greatest thing that the U.S. has ever done. We're changing. We're turning the financial, the financial corner here. We're going from an analog system, world reserve currency, the dollar. We're leveraging Bitcoin into everything, right? We're gonna build it here in America, as he says. We're gonna, back the dollar. We're gonna bring all the exchanges here. If that's what he says, and I anticipate that's what he's going to say, and that's not just like if he were to say this, I genuinely believe like my man is going to go all in on Bitcoin here at this conference, and I think that narrative in itself is going to bring us new all-time highs. And you said 80,000. I do think we're going to get to 80,000 in a very short time period. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be within 1 week, but I do think that within the next 30 days, man, I think we're over 80K. And you take that, and then you also smack the Ethereum all-time highs. You crush it. We start seeing inflows on the ETH ETF outperforming everyone's expectations. And then, what do you think is going to happen? $85,000 Bitcoin, $9,000 Ethereum. Solana's going to crush it. Solana is going to take off. Toncoin going to take off. Cardano gonna take off, and
will Polygon take off?
Nah.
Wow. Someone asked that in the comments.
I think Polygon is going to be a late to the party. I'm not dismissing Polygon's performance this bull market, but I think that when did Polygon rise last bull market? It was way later in the cycle, right? Ethereum went from its sub $100 at the very, very, very onset of the bull market up to where it did at 4,000. And we didn't see Polygon really start to make strides until that back half of the bull market. And so I think that we'll probably see something similar. I do think that Polygon's going to underperform a lot of other altcoins. And so I don't think it's the best position to be in. I think it is a pretty safe spot to be in, but I would rather just be in the mother asset. I'd rather be in Ethereum than in Polygon, man.
Did you just call it the mother asset?
Yeah, I'm into mama.
Mama.
This is very, very off topic, but Kamala Harris was on the Drew Barrymore talk show, and Drew Barrymore.
Hold on. Why do I feel like you're like snuggling up with some green tea matcha and you're watching the Drew Barrymore show in the morning? Like, what are you doing?
Clip on X.
Like,
it was a clip on X.
Actually, what do you think? Do you think David was drinking green tea matcha?
I don't like matcha.
What's wrong with matcha? Hold on.
What's that?
What's wrong with matcha?
I don't like matcha.
I'm just saying that you drinking matcha is cool, but grown ass man David here drinking matcha, watching the Drew Barrymore show early in the morning before he comes to the studio is absolutely.
You want me to out you right now? Do you want me to put you on blast right now?
Please.
Ashley wants it. She wants me to put you on blast.
Can you?
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
For the sake of the viewer.
Yeah. Let's not have a Mr. Beast moment.
Jesus Christ.
I want to go back to.
Yeah.
I want to go back to XRP really quick. Outside of just like price action, right? You have the psychological element to it as well. If XRP has been between that 45 and 50 cent range for a while, if it dips down to a sub 40 cents, well, guess what? Psychologically, that's going to be cheap.
What if?
Can I just finish my
No. I got to throw this in.
Okay, don't finish.
Okay, what if? Okay, you took the things I said, right? Bitcoin Nashville.
I didn't even finish
Bitcoin Nashville.
I didn't even finish
Trump
my Kamala thing.
bullish. Trump bullish. Whatever. Bitcoin 85,000. ETH ETF absolutely crushing it. $8,000 ETH and SEC absolutely drops the ball on the court case. Ripple's in the free and clear.
$2.
And $2.
Yeah.
And that's not even that crazy. We're expecting the lawsuit we're expecting resolution. This thing is about to be over. XRP ETF
Can I
announcement.
get 2 seconds now? Okay. So what I was trying to say is the longer XRP stays above 60 cents, right? And Forrest talked about this a while ago. We're talking about like price anchors in like psychologically. 62 cents, 62 cents, 62 cents for a week, for 10 days, 14, 21 days, whatever that amount is. And then we see a drawdown. Now the perception of XRP is cheap is no longer 35 cents, it's 50 cents. It's 52 cents. If it does go down to that 38 cents, now it's on super sale. So you get a lot more bids. All right, what is wrong with you today? Are you okay?
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to.
Anyways, yeah, so 62 cents stays along. Anyways, what I was saying about Drew Barrymore is she referred to Kamala Harris as Mamala Harris. Like
Mamala Harris.
Mamala. You know, in Spanish, mamala can mean a different thing.
What?
For all my Spanish-speaking friends here. All right. You know, you mentioned Solana, Robin, and are you okay today?
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned Solana, and I want to mention this. Potential bullish things happening. So Franklin Templeton endorses Solana following launch of its Ethereum ETF. You know, when we were all doubting the ETH ETF being approved, you continue to say BlackRock gets what BlackRock wants. I think at this point, we can all agree that if BlackRock decides to apply for another ETF, it's going to happen. And which one makes sense the most? I think Solana does. And here you have Franklin Templeton pretty much giving their stamp of approval. This is a post from their digital assets handle on X. Besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, there are other exciting and major developments that we believe will drive the crypto space forward. Solana has shown major adoption and continues to mature, overcoming technological growing pains and highlighting the potential of high throughput, monolithic architectures. So we know FireDancer is around the corner. It's currently still in testing to make sure that all the bugs and the potential issues are taken care of before it hits the mainnet. But that could take Solana into a different level of scalability and throughput that not a lot of projects, they can say in theory they can do it, but will they can they actually do it when the tire hits the road? Very, very few. No one really. You know, Hedera is very fast. Algorand's pretty fast. Cardano is fast. But Solana, FireDancer, if it goes off the way it says it is, and the continued growth in the ecosystem and people onboarding and using, it's going to be massive. And I think we both agree the next ETF that makes sense would be Solana. And we saw what happened with Bitcoin. When it was announced, Bitcoin shot up. When ETH was announced, ETH shot up. If Solana's at $180, and let's say tomorrow we get news, BlackRock files for Solana ETF, Solana's going to $210, $220 in one candle, in a 4-hour or 1-day candle. I really, really do. We saw it with Bitcoin, we saw it with ETH. I think we're going to see it with any altcoin.
Yeah.
And it's not just rumors. I'm saying
I think so.
BlackRock files for Solana ETF, Solana's up 20%, 30% in a day.
I don't know about a day. I would give it 72
That's what ETH did. That's what ETH did. From 2,800 to like 3,600.
Yeah.
Then it got up to 3,800, almost $4,000, and then it pulled back. So.
I don't know. I think 48 hours, 72 hours, something like that.
But Solana, even at $180, yes, it's not a 100x. It might not even be a 10x. But you're talking about getting a 4 to 5x from the fifth largest ecosystem, the fifth largest cryptocurrency in the world. That's pretty damn good. In a matter of 18 to 24 months, that is pretty damn good. How long would it take you to get a 5X from Microsoft, from Coca-Cola, from PepsiCo, from some of the blue chip stocks out there, even tech stocks, without the inherent massive risk? Now, of course, cryptocurrencies have some of those inherent risks, but when you go down the line, I mean, if I told you 5X in 18 months, that's, you'd be crazy not to entertain that idea. And then I want to talk about this. So Rob, obviously the Ethereum ETF, right? Just a headline here, very solid inflows. But someone brought up a potential issue here. That is Gabor Gurbax. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. He's an advisor to Tether. Raises Ethereum ETF risk management and security concerns. Couple things I've highlighted here. So Coinbase is the asset holder of 8 out of 9 ETH ETFs and 10 out of 11 Bitcoin ETFs. Boards and risk management committees that find it appropriate to place so many of the assets of ETFs in the hands of one company raises concerns about their judgment. The inherent risk of giving one custodian control over practically all assets on the ETF market is the basis of Gabor's criticism.
This isn't nothing new. Like, I don't understand why all of a sudden this is front and center. I mean, it's...
But now we have 2 ETFs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
over
like,
90%.
why weren't these concerns raised, or why wasn't the crypto social medias and crypto experts, why weren't they addressing their concerns about all of this when we launched the ETFs, right? And now that Ethereum's there, and I get it, now it's just another example where, hey, we got more centralization. We've talked.
Do you
about
agree
this.
with Gabor's?
Yeah, I've talked about this openly in the past. I'm like, hey, there is a security concern. You have a centralization of custodial agent, right? I mean, instead of having a diverse set of custodial agents, I mean, you have just one custodying everybody, and I would assume they're doing proper risk management, but even outside of perhaps having security compromised, or perhaps having a lapse of seed phrase, I'm sure they're spreading out the liability accordingly. I'm assuming so, and I don't exactly know what the custodial setup is.
There's no better custodian than Coinbase. But still.
But the reason you say that is just off of sheer track record, right? But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's always room for improvement.
Always.
And so, are they dispersing their Bitcoin in different locations, into different servers, or is it all under one roof? Or maybe they just have all. Maybe there's a fire, an EMP issue. Maybe I don't know. I mean, there's a million things that could happen.
Rob, we got to assume though, like companies like BlackRock probably have asked questions, done due diligence, but still, I mean, think about it this way. God forbid, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if something happens to those keys and those,
okay, let's just pretend, right? There's a vault that has the keys. Let's just pretend and let's just say instead of them dispersing it into 5 locations, let's just say it's dispersed into 100 computers on 5 different levels in this bunker, right? What if there was an EMP bomb, right? Or if you're not, it's an electromagnetic pulse attack, right? This is kind of far fetched, but I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation. Let's say this was enacted by a government, and say it was kind of launched. You're not talking about a nuclear warhead, but I'm just saying that in a particular device, that
cyber warfare is real.
Yeah, that sends out an electromagnetic pulse and it fries electrical equipment. It's not. This isn't futuristic. Something. This is things that we have now. These weapons exist, and if this were to pop off above that bunker, and it were to penetrate the security, all of that's gone, right? And I don't know. Maybe.
And I think that would be of magnitudes worse for the space than Mount Gox was.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, and maybe that's not even an issue because hey, maybe the bunkers so far. Because I've seen some of these bunkers that they have. They're underground and they're safe to, certain styles of attack. And maybe it's not even plausible. I'm just giving you a hypothetical situation that anything could happen, things that you wouldn't expect. And so I would rather see 9 different custodial agents, not just Coinbase. And sure, you're going to have some people without proven track records here that are going to be custodying a lot of Bitcoin. So that's a concern. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have that than have one point of failure where it's just everything goes to crap. I mean, you might cut a whole bull market off. You might cut a whole bull market.
You laugh, but it's
early. We might cut a bull market like 7 months early and lose tons of gains if something were to happen to Coinbase Prime and their custodial services, right?
Which is why we always recommend you custody your own Bitcoin, your own cryptocurrency. If you want to have some in the ETF, cool, great. You should have it dispersed. You should do what Rob talked about, really kind of just deleverage. Don't have a central point of failure. Have some in one wallet, have some in another wallet, maybe have some in a hot wallet that's easily accessible. Maybe some of that money is for your trading, for your selling. Hey, I want to sell at certain levels. Keep it there. You want to have some in the ETF for tax purposes in your 401k? Great. Have some in the ETF, but don't have everything in one place. God forbid something happens. God forbid you lose a seed phrase. God forbid something. The $5 wrench attack, right? No one has to know you have 10 different wallets or 8 different places to keep your Bitcoin. It's always good to diversify, especially for an asset class. It's going to make you so much money. It is worth the time. It is worth the resources to protect yourself and to protect your money. That'll do it for the show today. Rob will be back in studio tomorrow. We'll have a live show tomorrow. And then Friday, you want to make sure you are subscribe to the channel, have notification bells on, and also follow us on X. As Rob and Rocco, again, will be down in Bitcoin Nashville, and they will be posting updates, whether it's video, whether it's just a quick post on X. They will be doing that. If you guys want to know everything that is going on in Bitcoin Nashville, the big announcements, you want to be following us on here and on X. We also have a Toncoin video coming out in about 1 hour. Long overdue, we've done a video on Toncoin, and so a lot of great information in there. You definitely want to check that out. So with that being said, Ashley? That was good timing. Maybe we train Rocco when he comes back. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you had a great time. On behalf of me, myself, Rob, and Ashley, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.